Okay, so everybody can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so welcome all. This is our 42nd, I guess, if I'm not wrong in counting, Business Central PC Open discussion. And this week I was a little bit busy with some of the go lives that came up, but I was able to explore uh, three minor things, and then there are 2 or 3 questions that I've received this week. So we'll go through those, and if time permits, we will talk about things if there are any other questions. Let's go through the normals. Where do you register? I still get this question. I don't know why, but this links get updated every week. Like this is already updated for next week. This is a short URL. If you are in the meeting and don't want to register every week, then drop your name and email address, and I'll make you default attendee going forward. And you don't have to go and register every week. But in the same space, there is a questions area where you can add your questions that you have, and we'll discuss that into next meeting. What's happening in the community? I guess I talked about it last week, and this is majorly for the folks from India. There is a first Dynamics 365 user group created by Microsoft specifically for India. I'm pretty optimistic that there will be good amount of sessions and activity going forward into it. Go ahead, register on that. This is the site, and let's see how many people are there right now. So I see there are 53 members right now. I'm pretty sure that in future we'll have I'm hoping user groups and conferences using this community. So I'd encourage everybody again, if you haven't, go ahead and be a part of the community user group that's created. What's next? Okay, so Dynamics Con is announced. It's this year, it's a little bit different than what happened till now. This year, the conference is for 4 days, but half day every day, so that you can work also. It's not a full 8-hour thing. You can still work, and people from India will have that benefit of not staying super late at night like I used to do till last time. So we can complete all the sessions that are happening every day, and then come back next day and continue. Registrations are open on dynamicscon.com, and I would encourage everybody who haven't presented but want to give it a try. I would suggest everybody to go ahead and submit a session if you think that you have an idea. It's super simple. Go to the website. If you haven't registered, go ahead and register there. You can submit a session. When you go there, I guess I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that there will be some kind of reservation for people who are attending for first time. I don't know. Steve, do you have any idea on that?
I don't know the registration details, but
okay.
Yeah, it's relatively simple.
No, I'm saying about the new presenter. Is still there is a slot?
Oh yes. They are looking to reserve new presenter slots, and they are also looking for new content. So there should be a question on there indicating whether this presentation has been given at another session or conference, or if it is brand new for, there it is, premier content.
Right.
So is this a brand new session that you developed for the first time that will be presented for DynamicsCon?
And then there is rookie speaker, right?
Yeah, to be fair, many of the people who present, such as myself, will maybe I'll present 2 sessions I'll prepare 2 sessions and I will present those sessions at multiple conferences. So they understand that, but they're looking to know whether there's premier content.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so people who are here in this meeting and never presented but think that they need a chance, I guess this is the great opportunity. As Steve pointed out, there is this flag about rookie speaker. which makes you into that slot. Like last time, it was very openly announced, I guess, that there was 25% reservation for new
Yep.
speaker. I don't know this time, but give it a try. I would
And,
encourage everybody who can do that.
and also, if anyone is a new speaker and you do want to present, but you're nervous, you're not sure what you would present on, or you have questions, we're working on an orientation and I guess having mentors or people that you can talk to get assistance, because it can be kind of intimidating if you're a new speaker. So we want to help bring new speakers in and assist. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to DynamicsCon. We're more than happy to help if you're a new speaker.
Right. And then, that's what I said, that if you think that you can, this is a great opportunity. I haven't seen a reservation on any other kind of forums that I presented for new speaker. I'm still thinking what should I present, because last time I guess I submitted 3 topics and none of them got most of the vote, so I was not able to present. But I'll think about it and maybe submit
What was
one
it about?
back. Sorry.
What was it about? The subject?
That was a kind of an introduction to Git. That was something I think is super important in the community where people don't know about Git. And there was one about source control, and then I forgot the third one. But yeah, there were 3 sessions which I never tried earlier. But those were for the last year. I'll think about this year. But there are already some submitted sessions. So if you're not planning to kind of present, have a look on who is presenting what. I guess there are people who have already submitted. Oh, the count is increased already. So Waldo already have a session about how he manages team for production, customer development. Interesting session. Right, and then Thomas is talking about coding for performance V2. I guess he have already done V1, and then others are around features in Business Central. So have a look. I'm pretty sure this list will go super big as we go forward. But I guess you see this here. This is a rookie speaker. That's first time speaker. And then this is, I guess, premiering content, that what Steve was saying, that nobody have this session was not presented anywhere else. So that's what this flag is. So go ahead. I would love to see new speakers from the community, and a chance like this where there's a reservation around it. Go ahead. I would recommend everybody to go ahead and submit a session, and let's see. And if you submit a session, let us know in the next meeting. We all will vote for you, whosoever does that. Okay. So let's go through the questions first. The first one, and this is the only thing that I received from Avinash. And Avinash, if you are here, can you give us some detail about what you wanted around positive pay? Okay, let me see. Yeah, Avinash is here. And Avinash, if you are speaking, your mic is mute. Okay, so maybe I'll come back to this. Avinash is not in the meeting, I guess, right now. Okay, let's see the next one. The question is from Pradeep, and I don't see Pradeep also in the meeting. Okay, but I guess I have some idea about it, which is in update, BC users, admin users are not able to see personalized option in their settings, which looks something like this. And I'm hoping that this is an on-prem thing, because this doesn't happen on SaaS. In SaaS, you always you are always able to see the personalized action. But if you are on-prem, there are settings that can control who can see the personalized option and who cannot. So like just for this, I just installed BC17. I would have never done that. But here, if you see, there is no personalized action. And the way on-prem the setting is controlled is, let me open my nav settings.json. So this file is actually stored in your CINet pub. www.root. And this is your web server instance name, which is visible in your IIS. So in your IIS, you create a website, and this is all on-prem for your web client. So like I have this PC170. So the same name will be available in this folder of your service tier where you have hosted your web client. And then there is a file called navsettings.json. What this file contains is details of the service tier that need to be connected while user tries to connect to this environment. So there are settings like what is the service instance name that need to be connected, where is that server, what type of credentials you are using on that service, the service port and the management port, only those two ports. And then in this, you can come down and add one setting called personalization enabled as false. So in your case, and let me remember what's the name. Yeah, Pradeep. In your case, maybe this is set to false because there is no what we call that permission that can stop any user to access this. So what you need to do is you need to come back and set this to enable, which is set it to true. You might not have permission to that folder, so give that permission, set it to true, save this file. And once you save this file, to apply those changes, you'll have to restart your website, not your service tier. So you'll have to come here and you'll have to restart your website. Once you do that and this website is restarted, and if you go back to your page and refresh that, you should be now able to see the, oh, let me refresh this. Oh, it's refreshing. Okay, now you'll be able to see the personalized action. But I'm hoping this is only on-prem. I'm pretty sure you can't do that on SaaS. I see a hand raise. Is it Sandeep? Hey, Sandeep.
Yeah. Hi. This
Hi.
is setting on profiles as well, at least in PC18.
That limits you,
It also
that
disables
shows
the
you this.
personalize. It disables the
Yeah.
personalize as well.
Oh, that can also,
So
that's new. Let's see that. And let me open my profiles page. And let me see first which profile I'm using. I'm using sales order processor. So let's come down and find sales order processor. Order processor. Okay. Okay. So if I disable the personalization,
yes.
does it remove that button?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that this can do that. So I guess Pradeep, now you have two ways to try it out. Is it disabled over there or is it actually disabled on your profiles?
But
So,
what would happen if it's disabled on the JSON file and you get to enable it here from the profile? What would
no,
happen?
so it'll take priority of the JSON file, right? Because that's a configuration. This is inside the environment, but that's a configuration of your tenant.
So it's mandatory to go through the JSON file.
So I guess, yeah, Sandeep, if you just disable there, then you get this message that you can't personalize, but you can see that action.
Well, in my environment, it stops showing.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe if you can close the browser and restart it.
Okay, that makes sense. I can try that out. Okay.
Close the browser because it copies the settings.
Okay.
Tab
So
change
let me
does
do
not work.
that. That's interesting if that disables that. Okay, I've opened it here. License expires. Oh, that's gone. That's cool. Thanks, Sandeep. I didn't knew that. So yes, Pradeep, then you have two ways to see where you have disabled it. Is it at the service tier, or sorry, at your JSON file? And if it is there, then it applies to every user and every profile. Nobody will be able to see it. And as Sandeep said, it might be on your roles page where you can disable personalization. Okay, going ahead, the last question that I have for today.
Does it also work on SaaS version then?
No, yeah. On that, I am pretty optimistic it will work on the SaaS versions. Let me try that out on my Docker. Because if it is on the profile, then it will work there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. So if you do on profiles, and let me see what profile I'm using here. This is Business Manager. So here's Business Manager, and let's disable the personalization. Okay. And as Sandeep said, let's close this and let's pop up a new window and paste it there. Yes, Vijay, it does work on Sandbox, at least Sandbox Docker. So I'm pretty sure it'll work on the SaaS one also.
Okay.
Okay, so the last question for this week was around Power BI. Is it possible to integrate Business Central on-prem with Power BI online? I'm unable to find any connector. And I think there is a connector. I haven't used it as in recently on-prem connectors, but as this screenshot shows, and if I open my Power BI desktop, I see even the Dynamics nav connector, I guess, which applies to nav 2018 and previous versions. But from the time, I guess, this Power BI was introduced, whatever the nav versions were supported back then, they all are available to be connected. So if I try to fetch the data and I try to filter, let's say Dynamics nav, I'll be able to see that there is a connector for Dynamics nav. And same for Dynamics 365 Business Central SaaS and Business Central on-prem. So I have worked with Dynamics nav connector, Tabriz, in past. And the way I've done it is by building a report on Power BI desktop using these connectors and then publish it. If your question is around adding those reports in your Dynamics Nav or Business Central fact boxes, as there was a Power BI Connect, then for on-prem installation, there is a full-fledged setup that you need to go through, from creating a Azure key and all those things. But if you just want to connect to an on-prem database or data, on the OData web service, then there is a connector for Nav or Business Central. Okay, so let's talk about something new in Business Central. So for all these years in Dynamics Nav, how, and this is kind of a question to everybody, how we have able to adjust our inventory in the system? If there is, sorry, adjust mean, let's say if you have to do a opening balances of your item inventory or do a negative adjustments or positive adjustments, how you actually do those in Nav or Business Central till now?
With item journal?
Yes, that was the only way that we had. And the only problem with that way was that there was no history of who did when and what all was done in that transaction, because journals don't create a posted document around it. With Business Central 2021 Wave 1, Microsoft added a new way to adjust your inventory using inventory receipts and inventory shipments.
Yeah.
Right? There are certain benefits of it, that it stores the history of the inventory adjustment that you have done. You can have a report developed to kind of print that document based on the posted inventory receipt or shipment or inventory receipt or shipment. The same functionality as most of the documents have, which is release and reopen functionality. And then it also support dimension, which is as similar to as it was earlier. And this is how it looks like as a full-fledged document in Business Central 2021 Wave 1. So if you go and search for inventory receipts, we'll be able to see that there is a page where you can add a new receipt, which have all the support of number series and all. You can define for which location you are doing this. You can define other setups like posting groups and all. You can give an external document number, choose a salesperson purchaser if required, and then define the items that you want in this case. Okay. Define the quantity that you want. If you have to specify dimensions.
Before you post, there is a correction boolean on the header in general FastTab. What does it do?
It specifies that the entry as a corrective entry. You can use this field if you need to post a corrective entry to an account. That's a
does it give you the ability to point to the wrong entry to correct it or something?
Let's see that. Is there something in here which I can adjust to it? Let me see. Item availability, dimension, item tracking line. If I do this, what happens? Do I get new options? No. Okay, so let's do both. First, let's do a normal entry, and then we'll try to do a corrective entry. Okay.
So also, and that it goes to post gel entries as well.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so these are the common options that you have there. I'm pretty sure there will be a dimension button somewhere where you can add more dimensions into it if you need. Yes, there's one. If you have to do item tracking, if the item is tracked, a lot of serial, you can use that option there. So let's try to post this. Okay, and we are using 1896 and 1900. So it's posting that. Let's see what happens once this gets posted. Okay, so is there a posted inventory receipt? I hope there is one. Okay. Let's see what entries are impacted based on this document. Okay, so there is an item receipt header where we are. There's a GL entry based on the setup that we have chosen. There's an item, two item ledger entry, one for each, and then there is a value entry. Okay. So now let's try to click on that adjust that button and see what happens now. So if I do this at the same location, same this, S2, let's pick the same salesperson and let's pick the same item. Okay. Okay. ABM, and this one was, I guess, large. Okay. So now I should be able to post this. Having release and reopen, that means in future as a partner, if you want to enable workflow into this, I guess you can now enable workflows with this. It's not in there right now, but that's a partner capability that you can add if required on that area. So let's do a post. It did post it. But now let's go to actual items and see what happened. 1896s, and then the quantity on hand is 4, which is coming from the positive adjustment. Oh no, is it positive adjustment? But the quantity in this case is -2. So
Because it's a correction entry.
yeah, because I did the correction entry, but which entry did it apply it to?
Exactly.
Right? Because it didn't ask me for which entry I want to apply it to. It'll be interesting to see where the application happened. This
The
actually,
last one.
the last one which was available in that.
It's just
Can you post
moronic.
one more document? Can you post one more document with correction true? Then we can
With-
see if the system gives error or.
It should go to 18, I guess.
So right now the quantity on hand is 4. So if I do a inventory receipt with correction of 5, I'm hoping it'll make my inventory to -1.
-1.
Right. Inventory receipt. Okay. Let's create a new one.
You can
Same
always do a
look.
copy document.
Oh yeah, that's also there. Thanks. Let's see where that is. Function, copy document, and let's pick a receipt.
Change. Post it.
Posted receipt, and then pick the second one, which was a adjustment. Recalculate line, specify application entries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark it true.
Let's see. Okay, click OK. Open must be yes. Oh, in item ledger entry 653.
That entry is already closed, so you can't apply it.
Right. So now let's do a simple copy
It's
document.
already applied the entries.
Yeah. Okay, so it just copied those. Okay. Now in this case, for this item, if I do a 5 and it's a correction, the inventory on my hand was 4. In
Should
that,
be -1.
it should be -1. That's what I'm hoping here. Okay. That's gone. Let's go back to item. Yeah, it's -1.
But what would happen if we've prevented negative inventory?
Then it should give an error message. As in, I'm pretty sure Microsoft will not go that route.
I hope so.
Right, but let's give it a try. Inventory setup,
Setup, yeah.
and let's disable the prevent negative inventory. Okay. So first, let me pop up some inventory into this, and then we'll do a correction. Inventory receipt. Let's click a new one, and as Sandeep told us, let's go and do a copy document. This time we'll pick the first one where this was a positive one, and click OK. Okay, and let me bump it to 5, and this one to 5. Let's say, yeah, 5, so that I have some inventory into it. So this got posted. Okay, let's create a new one. So right now my inventory should be 4. Let me see. Yeah, 4. Okay. So now, and we have disabled the negative inventory at this point. So what happens now if I do a okay, action function copy document? Let's pick the second one. Doing a correction. Okay. So my inventory is 4. So let me do a 6. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Sam, it'll stop you that you don't have insufficient quantity of item on the inventory.
Good to know.
Right. But I'm hoping it's taking care of the location. It is not just directly adjusting it to the existing inventory. I'm hoping. So let me see that. What happened in this case when I did it for location east, where the application actually happened. Okay, so the application actually happened to a location east.
Just specify which entry to correct.
Yeah, that's a little bit odd. As in, that should be there. so that I, based on the mistake that I have done, I should be able to point out which document it's being applied to. Yeah, that's something that is missing, I guess. You can't do that, at least now. Okay. So other than these two menus that are available with Business Central 2021 Wave 1, as I said, Microsoft haven't built the reports around it, but as per the update that I read, there is a print support. So somewhere in the report selection, there should be a report selection for this. Let me see.
Oh, so
Inventory, posted inventory, receipt, shipments,
yeah.
and inventory, where is unposted? Oh, here it is. Okay, but there are no reports from the base Microsoft, and the reasoning that I read online from Microsoft website is that these reports are localization specific. They can't just make a generic report which applies to everybody. So that kind of left it to partners if you think that there is a report required. So you can just add that report and update your report selection inventory and utilize that feature there.
Can you use report extension on reports?
You can use report extension on reports.
Oh, specifically the inventory, shipment, and receipt.
Inventory, shipment, and receipt. Sorry, Sam, I didn't hear your question.
I mean, can we use the report extension on the shipment and the receipt?
You can't, because there is no report at this point from Microsoft, right?
Okay.
We'll have to build it, and then or if a partner builds it, or if it comes on a localized version, then you can surely extend that report. Shahid, you have something?
Yeah, there was a report previous item valuation report. Is it affecting in this new feature?
It will be, as in, let's see where that report is.
Yes, it does.
It will, right? Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's
inventory
it's
valuation.
Yeah, it's affecting the same data, right? It's just a new way of doing your journals. Yeah, so it's just a new way of doing your journals. It's nothing, it's not creating something new. It just Microsoft have given you a new view to post journals, let's put it this way. So I don't think that it'll have any impact on, as in, there will be similar impact on the report as it would have done if you would have posted from the journals. Okay. What is the date? It
Change
should
the date
not.
to 23.
Oh, 23 it is. Okay. Let me just do 23 directly. Okay.
Make it to 24 then. It's some number in December in 23, I believe.
Okay. No.
No.
No. Okay, but yes, I'm pretty sure that will impact the inventory evaluation report in the same way. Have a look, on your Business Central 18 Docker environment. This is 2021 for some reasons. Okay. But I'm pretty sure it'll impact the same way. It's just a new way of doing the same thing that we were doing from journals in the past. Anything else on this one? Okay. So a small change, but I have been stuck because of this change in so many situations, which is having shortcut dimensions in the ledger pages. And this is a very common requirement from the customer to have my shortcut dimension available on certain ledger pages, because I need to do slicing and dicing of my data based on shortcut dimensions also. So this is actually not added in Business Central 18, but it was added between Business Central 17 and 18, as it was not a destructive change. So it was added behind the scene in some minor hot fixes. So I didn't get the detailed list where all Microsoft added it. I can do more checks on it and identify that. But the way it is done, that it's available on most of the ledger pages, but you can't see it by default. And the only reason you'll not see it is if it is not defined on your general ledger setup. So if you have defined your shortcut dimension 3, 4, 5, 6 on your general ledger setup, then those fields will be available on those pages. So if I pick area as my shortcut dimension 3 here, and let's say this group as dimension 4, and I refresh my customer ledger entry page, at the end, I'll be able to see my shortcut dimension 3 and 4. There are others also, but they are only visible if it is defined on your setup. So I'm pretty sure it's available in most common ledgers, but only for those customers who have defined their shortcut dimensions in their general ledger setup. Otherwise, these are not visible by default. As per the documentation, it seems it's added in 20 pages, 20 ledger pages. So you'll see that in your environments as you work with them, if those dimensions are set on your general ledger setups. And Sam, you had a question?
Well, so you don't need to go through a customization if you just set the dimensions on the general ledger setup.
Right. Then there is no custom. It's already there. The only reason is, I guess, is the visibility is set based on if the customer is using it. Because I'm pretty sure these are flow fields. These are not the actual fields that are there. So the flow fields are only visible in case when you are when a customer is using it. Otherwise, they kind of tend to hide those fields. So there's no custom around it. Okay. So there is one cool thing, very small thing, but was super powerful for at least for me while I was and there's no documentation around it, but I saw it while I was working on it. So in the earlier session where most of you may not have attended, and I'm hoping you would have seen the sessions recording in the past, Microsoft have changed the whole email module. And if you have been recently upgraded, or if you are using Business Central but never looked at the feature management, it might have been disabled for you, like I have done it right now. So by default, enhanced email capabilities is disabled. And the reason is that the custom code that you have or the ISVs that you're using may not be compatible with the new email module. So if there is any dependency, don't enable it. Just FYI. If you want to give it a try, create a sandbox if you are on SaaS, or create a test environment on-prem, and then enable it to see what breaks once you enable it. Because your SMTP, mail table, and other table will then not be utilized for sending email. So let me just enable it for a while on mine, and I'll have to kind of refresh my browser to make this page load again. Okay. So once you are here, now the new one, and I'm not going into details of it, but I'm pretty sure there's a recording around it, but I'll go through the email setup, which is set up email. Now there is a wizard to set up your email address, different kind of options of using 365, current user, or SMTP. Provide your details. Okay, and I'll just do it without any details for sending because I just want to utilize it to show you. Okay, and let's say apply Office 365. If you have a password, you set that up, and that's it. And then you can test it. With the new email module, there is a way of defining email scenarios. So what email scenarios are is Okay. Is that you can define which one, like right now, if I want to say that by using this email address, I want to send my customer statement, my purchase order, and let me do a select multiple. Okay. My customer statement, my purchase order, my sales order, and vendor remittance. Then anytime a email will be invoked from these areas, it will use the sender email address as this. And you can define different scenarios based on different emails. So like if you want to send all your sales email from an email ID called sales at the rate whatever that .com it is, you can define that. Same for purchase and same for service. So you have capabilities to use different senders for different kind of scenarios. So that's a scenario thing over there. And then on the new one, there is the whole kind of Outlook is available inside Business Central. So you can see what emails were sent. There's an outbox where emails which you try to send but are still stuck based on an error message of incorrect email ID and all, that all gets stored in your outbox. You can write an email directly. You don't have to go out to your Outlook to write an email. So if you have to write an email, you click on compose an email and you get the full-fledged Outlook into it, where you can define whom it is going to, what is the subject, is there a message. The new email module have the all formatting parameters as you see on your default Outlook. You might see them on the top ribbon. They are available here. And then you can attach multiple attachments as you want them. Okay? One is not a limitation, two is not a limitation. You can just define how many you want. But that is not the feature that we are going to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is what recently changed in Business Central 18 CU1. It was not available in CU0. So for that, let's start it from the beginning where I would do it. So let's say if I'm on my customer record, and for my customer number 1000, I have a attachment, which is, let's say, the logo of BC Open Discussion. And then I also have a, let's say, the logo zip file there. So these are the two attachments that I have received from my customer, and I want to store them inside my Business Central. But that's, at the same time, this option was available from Dynamics Nav also, and this is flow to sales transaction. That means out of these two, if I want to say that anytime I create a sales document for this customer, the logo transparent should also move from my customer record to my sales order. Okay, so let's click close and let's create a new sales order for this customer. So as soon as a new sales order is created, right now it says 0. If I just validate this, it'll change it to 1, and that attachment is now moved to my sales order. Okay, I'll define my items the way I want it, and you can also define your document attachment in your items. They will also move to your sales and purchase documents. Now at this point, I want to send a confirmation email to my customer. So what you do, you say, okay, print and send email confirmation. Based on your setup, this gets bad. Okay, that should not happen, but let's see. That should load the new email module out of it, and we should be able to see the new email with the attachment of that report. What happened wrong now? Okay, if I go to my sales orders, let me go to the last one, and let me do a email confirmation. Oh, there is some problem over there. Okay, let me remove the email scenario. Maybe I haven't validated my user. That's why this is happening. So let me go to my email scenarios. Okay, just remove this for a while. Oh, sorry, not from here, from email setups. Email accounts. No. Okay, just trying to go to sales order page all the time. Oh, email account. And let me delete this. Okay, it might have some scenarios which are gone now. Okay, so if I go to my, and I might be playing with it behind the scene on my code, that might be causing this issue. Okay, so this should open my email designer with, let's see what that is. My email address, where it is going, what is the subject line. This is coming from the word layout that is defined on your report selection sales for the order confirmation report. And then there is that attachment of my sales order report. But the new thing that's added is this button, which is called as get source attachment. What it does, it picks all the attachments that are available in the source document and make them as attachment to your email. So if I click on it, it'll show me all the attachments that are available in my sales order from which this email is being built in. And then you can choose if there are multiple and click OK, and that will be part of your email attachment. So if your customers have scenarios where there are files attached to their master records, which then flow to your transaction and also to the ledgers as the sales order get posted, now they can just attach those while sending those email to their customers or vendors by just using this action called get source attachment. And if you don't know from where you're coming, I don't know what's the intention behind it, but you can click on source and it'll take you back to your sales order, which is, I guess, the reasoning behind picking up the get source document. Does that make sense, guys?
It does, yes.
Okay, so that's all that I had for today. But if there are any questions or anything that we want to discuss, feel free to talk about it.
Well, obviously, I do have a zillion of problems. The first one would be about the. So I tried to deploy container using the include Seaside. It requires a license for some reason. It doesn't take the Cronus license. It requires a license. I do have a NAV 2018 valid license. It hasn't expired yet, but it seems to get stuck on it. Even though I do use the license parameter within PowerShell, it's asking for the same license over and over again.
And you are trying it with which Docker container? BC? Oh, sorry, NAV 2018?
That's NAV 2018. That's the latest CU. Hold on a second. Let me just put. That's the latest CU. That's version 11.0. The latest version of Navision, I should say.
I'll have to see. I haven't worked with the Seaside one, but I'll have to look. As in Steve, I'm not sure. Have you worked with the Seaside versions of Docker images?
I have not, only
Right.
the
BC
SaaS
ones.
sandboxes. Yeah.
Right. So I'll have to see, Sam. I haven't used Docker recently with the older versions of Nav. I'll have to give it a try, and I'll come back to you. Maybe next week we can talk about it, or maybe I can ping you on LinkedIn once I give it a try.
Okay, you did understand the problem. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Since I'm trying to have 18 on Docker, and I do use include Seaside, but it's asking for a license file. It doesn't use the Cronus, but it's asking for license file. Even though I do have a license, it doesn't accept it. It keeps asking for license file.
So if you do include Seaside, do you also say to export objects as text? Because that requires a license.
No, I'm using do not export objects and to text.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Should
Sam,
I
and I'll let you know.
remove?
Sorry?
Should I remove do not export objects to
Yes,
text?
because that requires a license. So just try to remove it, and if it doesn't work, just ping me on LinkedIn or somewhere on Twitter. I'll give it a try in that case.
I'll give it a shot. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Um,
Anyone?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm wondering if anyone else has tried to use App Insights for Business Central telemetry.
Yeah, I was reading about your Twitter feed on that.
I get it. It looks super simple. It's just supposed to work. And so my issue is not so much on Business Central, like App
It's on Azure.
Insights. I can't even get it to behave. It's very strange. So I'm just wondering, is it me? But I've tried with 2 different Azure logins. I've tried multiple instances and multiple regions. And I just have to assume I'm doing something wrong, or there's some setup I'm missing on the App Insight side. But I'm gonna post on the Discord channel and ask around. Just wondering if anyone else here has used App Insights. If not, it'll be
Anyone?
my adventure. Anyone? Okay, no worries.
I'll give it a try, Steve. I'm not sure. I haven't used it, but I'll give it a try for the telemetry. Let's see if I find something.
Cool. Thanks.
And Tanya, give us a minute. I guess I forgot about the question from Jignesh, so I will take that and I'll come back to you. So Jignesh, as we were talking about before the meeting started about your upgrade related issue, right? And Jignesh is here. Yes.
Yes. Saurabh,
Okay.
I have checked on the database. There is a change log is activated for that
Right,
customer.
but here is the code that is causing that error message for you. Okay, and this is V18 base application source code upgrade folder upgrade monitor field code unit.
Okay.
So this is what happening, that there is an upgrade tag. If it is found, then it checks for change entry, which is change log entry, and find for filter this, and then tries to do this, and then modifies the field monitoring setup. Okay. So what I would suggest that if it is still a problem, and it can be because you are trying with Business Central 18, which is pretty new, and I see that there is an upgrade code unit, which will eventually run for each company whenever you are trying to execute your upgrade process. So if just by disabling it, it doesn't solve it, because I don't see that code here, that is it enable or not, I would request you to create a ticket with Microsoft, and they'll be able to set this parameter in their code. And for on-prem, they might give you a quick fix around it and don't have to wait for CU2 or CU1, but report it, because it's not just you. If it is a problem, then it's for everybody on-prem.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I see a new code unit added just to upgrade the monitored field, which makes no sense, because it says that field monitored, and in any case it modifies it, which is weird. It should do a find set and then do it, but it's just doing it for all the cases, because it's trying to set a filter for field log entry feature, monitored sensitive field, and monitored sensitive field all. And because they didn't do a find set here, it's executing this, which is generating the error, this modify statement.
Okay.
So there is a line of code missing between 21 and 22. But if you are getting an error message, I'm optimistic that everybody will get it, because this is the code which we cannot decide that it will execute or not. It will execute every time. So go and report it to Microsoft. They'll fix it. And for on-prem, they will give you a quick fix to set this upgrade tag. And that's a very good feature in Business Central with using these upgrade tags, that every upgrade procedure has an upgrade tag that defines does this code need to execute or not. So for on-prem, they'll give you that tag and you can update it backend, I'm hoping. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for CU1 release where they'll fix it.
Okay.
Okay. Tanya, you had something?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
This is regarding the cumulative upgrade actually. So we have almost done the cumulative upgrade from 17.1 to 17.5. So the thing was that we want to use the our earlier published extension, custom extensions. So there had been two ways. Either you go for recompiling them against the new application, or you then or either you go for those three commands which just says publish, sync, and the date start.
Install. Yeah, start NAP data upgrade.
Start
Yeah.
NAP upgrade. So I chose this route, this alternative, to go for this publish, sync, and start upgrade. So I was just wondering that post upgradation, is this fine that so my extensions that were earlier published, I just have changed the time version stamp to the next build, right? One, and
Right.
I got them published. But those extensions have their dependencies on the previous system and base applications.
Apps. Right.
Right. So is this fine? As in that dependencies is still on them, the earlier versions like 17.1.
So the way dependency work is it works on the minimum version that you need to go in. Okay, so when you are on VS Code, and let me open a control shift P, or if there is an app.json, or let me create one. So the way dependency works is if there is a dependency and there are only 4 parameters into it, right? So if I do let me open one of the system application so that it will be defined. So if I go into, let's say one of the feature, which is as a separate app, let's say headings. Yeah, that's a separate app. Okay. So this app has a dependency with one of the app from 18.1 and this one also 18.1, right? So this is the minimum version, as you can see here. This is the minimum version where the dependency should be. If you have a higher version, it will automatically take that.
Okay. Right.
So
but
yeah, that's
my extensions, the previous extensions are built on 16.4, 16.4 they're built on, and I am coming from their 16.4 to 17.5. So that is working for us.
Yeah, so once you have run, and there is an article which is hidden somewhere, how you install a new version of extension on-prem that I've written when 2020 somewhere. At the end, there are these commands, right? These are the commands that you run. You first uninstall the old version of your app, then you publish the new version of your app, then you synchronize the new app version, and here you will have to choose the version that you need. Then you start the NAP data upgrade. These steps, if there is an upgrade code unit, it runs it. Otherwise, you can understand it moving the data from your old extension to the new extension. And then the last,
what if we don't have the upgrade code in it?
That's okay. That's not a problem. Yeah. Okay. Then the last step, which most of the people forget, and then they have multiple versions published there, is to unpublish your old version of your app.
Right.
So that completely removes it. And so like this is an example or sample code where I'm replacing my 1.0. This is my 1.0 with 2.0. So once this is sync, upgraded, Then in the unpublished, I have specified the version 1.0.0.0.
Right. So that means
Right?
that's fine to me if the
Yeah,
dependency is in the previous versions, right?
right.
Because
Yeah,
it did
that's
not
all.
break anywhere. The process did not break anywhere in the entire process I did. It did not break anywhere. So
Because it's
ultimately,
the minimum version.
right, right.
It's the
And
minimum
also,
version that depends on.
when so let's believe like when you have when the extension or the app is synced, as in it's published, not synced, it's published, so it's already synced with the DB, right?
When you
It's a
publish it,
yeah.
no, it's
When,
not sync. When you
okay.
publish it, it's just published. And that's why you have to run the sync separately. And then sync verifies that the version that is installed and the new version that you're installing is not causing any destructive changes per se.
Right, like the database schema.
Yeah, as in your extension schema plus uh, is your app compatible with the version where you're installing it. So that
Right.
all happens in the sync.
Okay, perfect. This
Okay.
was great help. Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, or I have one. Actually, two
Go ahead.
basically. Yeah. So we have seen that inventory receipts and shipments. So
Yeah.
is item journal still continuing or is it
Yeah,
off
yeah.
date?
No, item journal is still intact as it is, as it was. And it's kind of an enhancement like was added into the journals also, where you can now have a history of your journal, right? So
Right.
it's
But
just an enhancement.
yeah, but one concern is why they have created two sort of documents, inventory receipts and shipments. Instead they could have created one and put that option of or a flag of positive and negative.
Um, Positive and negative. So it's inventory, shipments, and receipts. So
It could have inventory document. If you want to have a positive adjustment, you can check the positive, and if it would have the negative, it should have, I mean, kind of a Boolean part, and that line should go with that purpose. In that case, we have a document as well as the history maintained, and we can have that all the entries posted regarding to that. Instead of creating the two documents, it could have been one. That's my point of opinion. I
May I
mean,
answer?
go ahead, Sandeep.
So the idea is in the stores, if you have got multiple people working and then their authorization is separately managed. So one person is responsible for issuing the inventory, another person is responsible for receiving the inventory. That's the whole purpose of creating two separate documents. With two documents, they can have their own separate list and documents sorted. Otherwise, you will be customizing that if it is a issue, then filter for X user. If it is receipt, then filter for Y user. That's the whole idea. Just like
yeah.
sales order and purchase order, both those do the same thing. And we can also manage by one single Boolean field, whether it will increase by inventory or decrease.
Right.
Right.
Okay, that sounds good.
And then one
Anything?
important field on this document is this general business posting group.
Right.
Anyway, any update on when this CU1 is coming for 18?
No, I did post it into Microsoft Forum. I didn't heard much, and that was surprising. But I was I was also following things on Twitter, and Waldo also pointed out on that question. So I don't know. That there seems to be a problem. I guess that it should come ASAP. I hope.
We blogged about by the end of this month, actually.
Okay.
We did say that it would be released for on-premise version, that is, by the end of this month.
Yeah, and the surprisingly, no cumulative updates have been released till now for this month, and we are already in half of the month. Normally, they get released on the first week.
Exactly.
Right, so there is no cumulative update for 17 or 16 or 14 or now 2018 that has been released for this month. So that seems to be a problem.
Doesn't sound good, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we'll meet next week. Stay safe
Well,
and see
thank
you next week.
you. It was truly informative, highly educational, always great. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you.
Thanks, Saurabh.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.